Before we start, YouTube has demonetized China Insider, so we're moving to our new channels. Please subscribe to our new channels, David on China and David Zhang 360. Just search for both with no space on YouTube or click the link in the description. Winter Olympics. Supposed to be all sports, no politics, no drama. China can't hold it in for just 2 weeks. This happened during the Japanese figure skater Sakamoto Kaori's performance, and the entire Chinese team left. From the very first set of frames, you can see clearly that they didn't leave during the performance, but rather it seems like they left before it started. It was a boycott. Now, obviously, there's some anti-Japanese sentiment going on right now. The CCP is over the top with this hatred towards Japan, and unfortunately, that extended into the Olympics. Now, I don't believe that there's any sort of excuse like a scheduling conflict because all other countries' teams and their players were present during this skating event. Obviously, tries to not play politics. China fails at that. If there was an Olympic category for the number of political situations that China can stir up, China will be gold. And the coaches obviously told the players to leave. I don't doubt that there were some coaches or staff members from the China team that felt like they needed to display nationalism at the Olympics. Well, karmic retribution, the Chinese skater ended up 8th while the Japanese skater was 1st. Meanwhile, during a flag-raising ceremony after the medals, a few Chinese attendees had the PRC flag up in the shot. Now, even though China didn't win top 3 in this particular category, they still had to make sure that the participation medal to squeeze into the spotlight and was present. But even the Chinese internet users were fed up with this. So a lot of these horizontal texts you see are people commenting. A lot of these words across the screen reads, basically, we did win. It's making fun of the idea that they need to somehow be the center of the attention even though they didn't really perform. And these comments say that, wow, that's some heart-reaching attempt. Like, even Chinese internet users can't stand this type of behavior. Another incident took place between a Dutch speed skater, Joop Wennemars, and Lian Ziwen from China. During their race, the Chinese skater seemingly bumps into the Dutch skater during the final push of the 1,000 meters race. Why can't they just race clean, lose clean, win clean, or even just exist at the event cleanly? China officially hasn't won a single gold medal this time. Not to worry though, #1 Chinese athlete Eileen Gu is here to help China's image. In 2022, she represented China in the Beijing Winter Olympics. She did win gold there. Unfortunately, this time, she fell on her last run and only got silver. As Michael Lucci posts here says, Eileen Gu will still win gold if the Olympics quickly spins up an event for treason and global hypocrisy. Pretty funny, but again, in her actual skiing category, her reason for not getting gold is because she simply carries the weight of 2 countries on her shoulders. Yeah, a lot of pressure, it seems. Okay, so when she wins, it's for China only, but when she doesn't win gold, aka lose, it's for both China and the US. I see how it is. Actually, it's truly shocking to me because it turns out sports competitions aren't really about comparing speed, skill, or mentality, or performance under pressure. It's about comparing the weight of nationalities. And there's just one tiny awkward detail here. Because China doesn't allow dual citizenship anyways, the fact that Eileen Gu likely hasn't given up her US citizenship means she's technically illegally representing China. In other words, the weight of the 2 countries she spoke of has no legal stance, or doesn't stand legally whatsoever. No wonder she felt so heavy. It was like a psychological burden, not a burden of the country, so to speak. Things like sportsmanship, hard work, perseverance, in the face of the weight of the 2 countries, they all seem to just become accessories. Like, girl, no need for that burden. You don't have to pressure yourself like that. China loves you. Just go become a Chinese citizen. Give up your US citizenship. I think a lot of Chinese people would love to exchange their citizenship status with yours. And I think compared to 2022, today, people know more about Eileen Gu knowing that she is a sellout. That's kind of the base, right? Raised in America by a system that fosters these special, unique athletic abilities and possibilities, Eileen Gu benefited from the American school systems, coaches, freedom to choose to explore, and capital. And then she chose to wear the flag of the principal adversary, China. But I think in 2026, things have changed a little bit. I think people are more mad at the fact that she's criticizing freely the United States while representing China, and no reporter has actually asked her about the country she supposedly represents. She's got all sorts of criticisms for the United States, but what about criticisms for China? None, apparently, according to her. And so this, not only does Eileen Gu make herself look bad, she also makes Chinese people look bad. Like, it's already pretty bad out there. Are we all a bunch of money chasers who have no principles? Which I'm really glad that Alysa Liu is here to counter that. Also raised by a Chinese parent, half Chinese, grown up in the Bay Area, U.S. figure skating champion Alysa Liu's father was also approached by the CCP to do what Eileen Gu is doing right now. In fact, here's a video from 2018 when Eileen Gu and Alysa Liu crossed paths. Now, I have this theory, which follow me through. In my opinion, it makes sense, but love to hear what you think in the comments. Eileen Gu wasn't actually the first choice of the CCP. Alysa was. But Alysa's father obviously rejected their approach and that offer, and so Eileen Gu was actually the replacement. That's why she's so eager to please. This is a video from this event in Northern California by some Chinese association. At 110 here, you see that the father of Alysa Liu is, the back is facing the camera. The mother of Eileen Gu is talking to Alysa. It's their first time meeting here. Then, next frame here, you hear that So the China Daily reporter is there. A CCP state media outlet sent their reporters there. And that means there's probably likely other members of the CCP present. In this frame, a man asked the mother of Eileen Gu if there could be some sort of a column for writing for something, and she happily agrees. Could it be some CCP newspaper column? Who knows what the column is for? But she's very happy to accept that. Were the parents of Alysa and Eileen approached by the CCP sports officials at this particular event to represent China? Well, because in 2019, a year after, Eileen Gu announced that she would represent China. So at the time of this event in 2018, Alysa Liu was far more famous in the US, more popular than Eileen Gu. She even went on Jimmy Fallon. Alysa was younger, more talented, she was more achieved, and more marketable. So when Alysa decided, or her father said no to the offer, that's when they jumped to their second choice, Eileen Gu. And here's also something about parenting, and I think especially something that comes with the Chinese Americans. Well, the father of Alysa rejected that offer. The mother of Eileen Gu accepted it. This was really about parenting. Alysa's father was a 1989 Tiananmen Square protester, a student leader. He fled the country afterwards. He made his way into America, became a successful immigration lawyer in the Bay Area, and raised children, telling them about the story of the CCP. And he sometimes went to go protest or organize protests outside of the Chinese embassy. And Eileen Gu's mother immigrated to the US and reaped the same benefits as Alysa's father. Also pretty successful. Yet she did not have the set of principles to stand behind. She was an opportunist. And Alysa's family herself are both the embodiments of American values and freedom. And in contrast, Eileen Gu, a seasonal opportunist just like her mother, seeking maximum sponsorship opportunities, flaunting elitism by playing both sides in order to be like, I'm the best of both worlds. Well, here's something I think really is for her to consider. Eventually, the world is going to come to a point where you have to choose. You can't play both sides anymore. At that point, what happens to your personal life? What happens to where you go? Does China even want you when you lose your value? That's something I think Eileen would have to consider. All right, that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you think about the whole fiasco around the two girls, but also what has transpired in the Winter Olympics. Thanks for watching today, and please subscribe to our new channels, David on China and David Zhang 360, if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much again for your support, and we'll see you next time.